All right. We're diving into Bitcoin treasuries today.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. And we're also going to be looking at a cryptocurrency
Oh, cool.
called PulseZen. Have you heard about that?
I have heard of Pulse Chain.
Yeah.
I'm not as familiar with PulseZen, though.
Yeah. So we're going to be kind of learning about that together today. But first, you're probably thinking Bitcoin treasuries. Like governments holding Bitcoin. Is that even a thing?
Yeah, it's becoming more and more of a thing.
So it's not just like, people on the internet talking about it. It's like actual governments are getting involved.
Yeah. Institutions and governments are starting to see Bitcoin as a legitimate asset.
Right.
Almost like a digital version of gold.
Like a digital gold reserve.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting. So like, it's kind of like they're saying, hey, we believe in the future of crypto.
Right.
And we're putting our money where our mouth is.
Exactly. They're diversifying their holdings and hedging against traditional market risks.
Okay, so what's the motivation behind this? Like, what are they actually hoping to achieve by doing this?
Well, there are a few factors at play. Take El Salvador, for example.
Right.
They were the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Their goal was to create a more inclusive financial system.
Okay.
Attract foreign investment and maybe even challenge the dominance of the U.S. dollar.
So they're like...
It is a bold move.
They're going all in on it.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But, I mean, making Bitcoin a national currency, that's putting a lot of faith in a still pretty young and volatile asset.
It is, and that's one of the big downsides. The volatility of Bitcoin is a major concern for governments.
Yeah, because they're used to.
Because they're used to.
The stability.
The stability of those traditional currencies.
Yeah, so that's definitely like a...
So it is a risk.
Yeah, a risk. And I mean, what about the practical side of things? Like, are people actually using Bitcoin for everyday transactions in El Salvador?
That's a good question.
Like, are they buying groceries with it?
Well, adoption has been a challenge.
Okay.
And that's another hurdle for governments considering these Bitcoin treasuries.
Right.
Getting citizens and businesses comfortable using a digital currency takes time and education.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then there's the whole regulatory landscape, which is still evolving rapidly.
Oh, of course.
So there's a lot of uncertainty there.
So it sounds like there's a lot of opportunities, but also a lot of challenges
Definitely.
for governments that are exploring this whole Bitcoin treasury thing.
It's a balancing act.
Okay, well, let's shift gears a bit and talk about PulseZen now.
Sure.
From what I've read, it seems to be doing some pretty interesting things in the crypto space.
Yeah.
Especially with this pay it forward concept. Can you break that down for us?
Yeah, so PulseZen's pay it forward or PIF mechanism is really innovative.
Okay.
Essentially, every time someone makes a transaction with PulseZen tokens, a small percentage, 2% to be exact, is automatically redistributed to all token holders.
So, like, if I have some PulseZen and then someone else buys something.
Exactly.
I get a little bit.
A little bit of that transaction comes back to you just for holding the tokens.
So it's kind of like a reward just for holding the token. The more you hold.
That's right. The more you hold, the more you benefit from those redistributions.
Interesting.
It incentivizes people to hold on to their tokens.
Right.
And it creates this sense of community ownership.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But there's got to be more to PulseZen than just...
Oh, there's definitely more.
Just the pay it forward.
Yeah.
I read something about a burn mechanism, too.
Right. So in addition to the PIF, PulseZen also incorporates a burn mechanism where a tiny fraction of tokens is destroyed with each transaction.
So they're like intentionally reducing the supply over time.
That's right.
But why would they do that?
Well, this deflationary approach can potentially increase the value of the remaining tokens.
Oh, okay.
It's a way to counteract inflation and make PulseZen more attractive as a long-term investment.
They're trying to make PulseZen more appealing than Bitcoin in a way.
In some ways, you could say that.
Less susceptible to inflation with this built-in reward system.
Exactly. It's leveraging some of those core concepts of Bitcoin like decentralization and scarcity.
Right.
But adding its own unique twists.
To create a more robust...
Yeah, to potentially create a more robust and rewarding ecosystem.
That definitely piques my interest. Now, I also read something about like a charity aspect to PulseZen.
Yeah.
What's that all about?
So PulseZen has a social impact component built into its design.
Okay.
With each transaction, a small percentage is allocated to a dedicated charity wallet.
Interesting.
The goal is to eventually use a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, to let the PulseZen community vote on how those funds are distributed to various charitable causes.
So not only are they trying to create like a financially rewarding system, they're also trying to make a positive impact in the world.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a really interesting approach.
So I'm liking what I'm hearing so far.
Cool.
But let's get a little more technical. How does someone actually participate in this ecosystem?
Sure.
And like benefit from holding PulseZen beyond the PIF rewards? I understand there's something called the PZEN LP reward system.
Yeah, that's a key part of the ecosystem. So PulseZen allows you to earn rewards by providing liquidity to the PZEN USDC pair on Uniswap.
Hold on, Uniswap. Can we back up for a second?
Sure.
For those who might not be familiar.
Right.
What exactly is Uniswap?
So Uniswap is a decentralized exchange, or DX, built on the Ethereum blockchain. Think of it like a stock exchange. But instead of trading traditional stocks, you're trading cryptocurrencies.
Gotcha.
And unlike traditional exchanges, there's no central authority controlling things.
So it's
all powered by smart contracts and run by the community.
It's like more...
It's a really interesting model.
Like democratic in a way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so how does this tie back into the PZEN LP rewards system?
So for Uniswap to function smoothly, it needs liquidity. That means there needs to be a pool of PZEN and USDC tokens available for people to trade. And that's where the LP reward system comes in. You can contribute your PZEN and USDC tokens to this pool. And in return, you earn a share of the trading fees generated by the exchange.
So it's like you're becoming a mini banker for the PulseZen ecosystem.
It's a simplification, but that's the general idea.
Facilitating trades and earning interest on your holdings.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. So it sounds like there's multiple ways to potentially benefit from holding PulseZen.
There are.
We've got the PIF redistribution. The burn mechanism, and now this LP rewards system. And on top of all that, they're also supporting charitable causes.
Yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive approach.
It's like they're trying to create a win-win for everybody involved.
For everyone involved.
But you also mentioned something called the PulseZen Incentive Token, or PZIC.
I did.
What's the deal with that?
So the PZIC is designed to further incentivize participation in the PulseZen ecosystem. Holders of PZIC receive additional rewards and benefits.
Like what?
Such as voting rights on proposals related to the project's development.
Oh, interesting.
And a share of the fees generated by the platform.
So it's like a VIP pass for the PulseZen community.
You could say that.
Giving you more influence? And potentially even greater rewards.
Exactly. It's a way to reward those who are truly committed to the project's success. And want to be actively involved in shaping its future.
It's fascinating how they've created this whole interconnected system with different layers of incentives and rewards.
So pretty impressive.
Now, let's step back for a moment and connect all of this to the bigger picture. We've talked about Bitcoin treasuries, government motivation, the challenges they face, and this innovative PulseZen token with its unique approach to community-driven finance.
It's a lot to take in.
What does it all mean for, like, the average person trying to make sense of this rapidly evolving crypto landscape?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that the world of finance is undergoing a significant transformation. Cryptocurrencies are no longer a fringe phenomenon. They're forcing us to rethink how we store value, transact, and even govern our economies.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new financial era.
It really is.
One that's potentially more decentralized.
More transparent.
More transparent.
More accessible.
And accessible to a wider range of people.
Exactly.
But it's also a bit daunting, isn't it?
It is. There's so much to learn.
There's so much information.
So many new concepts.
Yeah, so many new concepts to grasp.
It can be overwhelming.
Absolutely. And that's why I think these conversations are so important.
I agree.
The more we understand these emerging technologies and their potential impact, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this new landscape. And to your point about it being daunting, I think it's important to remember that we're still in the early stages.
Very early.
Of this evolution. There's a lot of experimentation happening.
Absolutely.
And not everything is going to succeed.
That's true.
So how do we separate the signal from the noise? How do we identify projects like PulseZen?
That's the question.
That have real potential.
Amidst
all the hype and speculation.
That's the million-dollar question. There's no easy answer. But a few things to look for. Include a strong and passionate community. A transparent and accountable development team. and a clear vision for how the project aims to solve real-world problems.
And of course, as with any investment,
Right.
it's crucial to do your own research,
Always.
understand the risks involved,
Absolutely.
and never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Couldn't agree more.
Speaking of which, we've got some great resources linked in the show notes for you to explore.
Awesome.
Definitely check those out if you're interested in learning more about PulseZen and its features.
Right.
Or if you want to stay up to date on the latest developments in the world of Bitcoin treasuries.
Good stuff.
It really feels like we're on the cusp of something big.
It does.
Like the whole financial system is being reimagined
It's exciting.
right before our eyes.
Yeah, it's an exciting time to be involved in this space, that's for sure.
And the beauty of it is that anyone can participate.
Absolutely.
You don't need to be a Wall Street banker
Right.
or a tech genius
Anyone can get involved.
to understand and benefit from these innovations.
Exactly.
That's what I find so empowering about crypto.
Me too.
It's like it's leveling the playing field, giving individuals more control over their finances.
It's democratizing finance.
But with all this change happening so rapidly,
Right.
it's easy to get caught up in the hype
Yeah.
and lose sight of the bigger picture.
It's important to stay grounded.
So as we kind of wrap up this first part of our deep dive,
Sure.
what's one thing you want our listeners to ponder
Okay.
as they navigate this new world?
Here's a thought to consider. Imagine a world where financial access and opportunity
Okay.
aren't limited by where you were born,
Mm-hmm.
your social status,
Okay.
or the whims of traditional institutions.
Interesting.
Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology have the potential to create a more equitable and inclusive financial system.
That would be incredible.
Whether it's governments exploring Bitcoin as a reserve asset,
Right.
or innovative platforms like PulseZen experimenting with community-driven finance,
Yeah.
we're witnessing the early steps towards this potential future.
Wow.
The question is, what role will each of us play in shaping it?
That's a powerful question to leave us with.
I hope so.
We'll be back after a quick break to continue our deep dive into Bitcoin treasuries and the fascinating world of PulseZen.
So before the break, we were talking about Uniswap and the PZA LP reward system.
Can you remind us how those two things connect?
Yeah, so basically the way it works is for Uniswap to function properly, it needs what's called liquidity.
Okay.
And that basically just means there needs to be a pool of PZDN and USDC tokens available for people to trade.
Okay, so like the more tokens in that pool.
Right. The more liquid the market is, and the easier it is for people to buy and sell PZEN.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
And that's where this LP reward system comes in. You can contribute your PZEN and USDC tokens to this pool.
Like add to it.
Exactly. You're adding to the pool and making the market more liquid.
Okay.
And in return for doing that, you earn a share of the trading fees that are generated by the exchange.
So it's like I'm being rewarded for helping the system run smoothly.
Exactly. You're essentially becoming a liquidity provider, or LP,
Okay.
and you're earning passive income from the fees generated by the trades happening on Uniswap.
So it's kind of like I'm getting paid to be a mini banker for the PulseZen ecosystem.
You got it. It's a simplified way to think about it, but that's the basic idea.
I like it. So I'm facilitating trades and earning interest on my holdings.
Precisely. And the potential returns can be pretty significant, especially for those who believe in the long-term potential of PulseZen.
That's cool. So it sounds like we've got multiple ways to potentially benefit from holding PulseZen,
Right.
the PIF redistribution,
Government mechanism.
the LP rewards system, and to top it all off, they're supporting charitable causes.
It's a pretty unique and comprehensive approach.
It's like they're trying to create a win-win for everyone involved.
Yeah, it's definitely designed with that in mind.
Now let's step back for a moment and connect all of this to the bigger picture.
Okay.
We've talked about Bitcoin treasuries,
Right.
government motivations, the challenges they face, and this innovative PulseZen token with its unique approach to community-driven finance.
It's a lot to consider.
What does it all mean for the average person who's just trying to make sense of this rapidly evolving crypto landscape?
Well, I think the key takeaway is that the world of finance is undergoing a massive transformation. Cryptocurrencies are no longer just this niche thing that only tech enthusiasts are talking about.
Right.
They're challenging the very foundations of our traditional financial systems.
It's like we're witnessing the birth of a new financial era.
It really feels that way.
One that's potentially more decentralized,
Yeah.
transparent, and accessible to a wider range of people.
Exactly. It's about empowering individuals, giving them more control over their finances.
But it's also a bit overwhelming, isn't it? There's so much information to process, so many new concepts to grasp.
Absolutely. It can feel like drinking from a fire hose at times.
And that's why conversations like this are so important.
I agree.
The more we understand these emerging technologies and their potential impact, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this new landscape.
Knowledge is power in this space, for sure.
And to your point about it being overwhelming, it's important to remember that we're still in the very early stages of this revolution.
Very early.
There's a lot of experimentation happening, a lot of trial and error.
And not everything is going to succeed.
So how do we separate the signal from the noise? How do we identify the projects that have real potential amidst all the hype and speculation?
That's the big question.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack sometimes.
It can be. There's no foolproof method, but there are some things you can look for.
Like what?
A strong and passionate community is a good sign.
Okay.
A transparent and accountable development team, and a clear vision for how the project aims to solve real-world problems.
Those are all good points. And of course, as with any investment, it's crucial to do your own research, understand the risks involved, and never invest more than you can afford to lose.
Absolutely. Those are the golden rules of investing.
Speaking of which, we've got some great resources linked in the show notes for you to explore.
Awesome.
Definitely check those out if you want to learn more about PulseZen and its features, or if you're interested in staying up to date on the latest developments in the world of Bitcoin treasuries.
Great resources for anyone who wants to dive deeper.
It really feels like we're on the brink of something truly transformative.
I think so too.
Like the whole financial system is being reimagined right before our eyes.
It's an exciting time to be alive, that's for sure.
And the best part is that anyone can be a part of it.
Exactly. You don't need to be a Wall Street insider or a tech wizard to participate in this revolution.
That's what I find so empowering about crypto.
Me too.
It's leveling the playing field and giving individuals more control over their financial destinies.
It's democratizing finance in a way that we've never seen before.
But with all this change happening so rapidly, it's easy to get swept up in the hype and lose sight of the bigger picture.
It's important to stay grounded and remember why we're doing this in the first place.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one thing you want our listeners to ponder as they navigate this new world?
Here's a thought to chew on. Imagine a world where financial access and opportunity aren't limited by where you were born, your social status, or the whims of traditional institutions.
That would be amazing.
Cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology have the potential to create a more equitable and inclusive financial system.
I can see that.
Whether it's governments exploring Bitcoin as a reserve asset or innovative platforms like PulseZen experimenting with community-driven finance, we're witnessing the early steps towards this potential future.
It's still early days, but the possibilities seem endless.
They really do. The question is, what role will each of us play in shaping this future?
That's a powerful question to leave us with.
It's a question we all need to ask ourselves.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Bitcoin treasuries and the fascinating world of PulseZen.
It was my pleasure.
We hope you found it informative, and as always, we encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.
That's the best way to navigate this exciting new world.
The future of finance is being written right now, and it's up to all of us to be a part of the conversation.
I couldn't agree more.
Until next time, happy diving. It's amazing to think about how much the world of finance has changed in just a few short years.
It really is. It feels like we're living through a financial revolution.
And it's all happening so fast.
The pace of innovation in this space is incredible.
I mean, just a decade ago, most people had never even heard of Bitcoin.
Right. And now we're talking about governments holding Bitcoin in their treasuries.
It's mind-blowing.
It is. And it's just the beginning. I think we're going to see even more dramatic changes in the years to come.
So where do you see all of this heading? What's the future of finance look like in your mind?
That's a great question. I think the future of finance is going to be more decentralized, more transparent, and more inclusive.
Those are all good things.
They are. And I think cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology are going to play a major role in making that happen.
So what advice would you give to someone who's just starting to explore the world of crypto? Where should they begin?
The first step is to educate yourself. There are so many great resources available online and in libraries. Learn about the different types of cryptocurrencies, the underlying technology, and the potential risks and rewards.
Like anything else, you need to do your homework before you invest.
Exactly. Don't just jump in blindly because everyone else is doing it. Take the time to understand what you're getting into.
And don't be afraid to ask questions.
Absolutely. There's a huge and welcoming community of people who are passionate about crypto. Don't be shy about reaching out and asking for help or advice.
Well, on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into Bitcoin treasuries and the world of PulseZen.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
It really has. Thanks for sharing your insights with us.
My pleasure.
And to our listeners, thanks for joining us on this journey of discovery.
We hope you learned something new.
We encourage you to keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions. The future of finance is in our hands, and it's up to all of us to shape it. Until next time, happy diving.